Welcome back to another card making video. Today I'm focusing on one die set and I'm going to share 3 different card ideas. I'm playing with this new Gingerbread die set, which is a collaboration of Stamperia and Spellbinders together, so let's start playing. For my first card, I die cut everything out of white cardstock, as you can see, and I'm going to ink up my gingerbread man with some ink. I'm using cream dye ink by Stamperia, and I'm also going to add some color on the hat and the other parts as well. Now for the gingerbread, and to make him look like cookie, I am going to ink up the edges as well, so he looks well done. Now for your gingerbread man, you can give him, if you like, a hat as well as a scarf, and there are also little bits and pieces that you can embellish him, which I am going to show you later on. There are also dies that you can create a candy cane. There are also dies that you can create a parachute or a hot air balloon, depends on how you are going to combine everything. Now for this first card, I'm going to show you 2 different variations of how you can color him. For example, here I'm going with pinks, and for a more pastel looking Christmas themed card, but you can definitely go with traditional colors like reds and greens for a completely different look. I'm going to show you both of them. Now it's very easy to put him together. There are little pieces that you can stick at the back of his head and at the back of his body, so that you can easily stick on top the pieces for the mouth, the eyes, and even the buttons. You can see here how I stick that there. And then of course you can go with colorful pieces. I just wanted to get the traditional gingerbread man look with the white frosting on top. I'm also going to put together the hat. There are just 3 pieces and one at the top, as you can see. Super adorable, and you can stick it on top of your gingerbread man. There are also 2 pieces only for the candy cane, so although you see all those stripes, you really don't have to stick one after another. They are all connected together, so it's super easy to put it together. And then I'm going to give it to my gingerbread man so that he can hold it. I'm also going to add all those frostings along his body. There are various pieces that you can stick. If you look at the gingerbread man, when you die cut it, it also embosses, and you can see exactly where you're supposed to stick all the frosting. However, I'm not paying any attention on that. I'm just picking random pieces and stick them on top without making an effort to match it with the embossing at the background. You can definitely go ahead and do that if you like. Now I'm going to finish him off. I'm just giving him the scarf, and there are only 2 pieces for the scarf. Just put one below the other, and I'm going to finally stick the candy cane so he's holding it. Now I think this piece is super adorable, and let's put together the parachute so that he can be falling from the sky. Now, as I put together these little pieces, let me talk a little bit about this collection. Now, as you all know, in July, all the brands release their Christmas collections. This gives some time to the shops so that they can stock up on things and they can be ready for the Christmas season. Now, usually all content creators do show all the collections, so you have an idea of what is coming, and they are also available as we speak. So this is a collection designed by my friend Liu in collaboration with Stamperia, and they collaborated with Spellbinders for the dies. The collection is called Candy Christmas, and it is super adorable. If you love pink Christmas with blues and pinks, then this is a collection definitely for you. But of course, with the dies, you can customize the colors and you can make them your own. So you can see here the example of him with pinks, but I'm going to show you another example in more traditional Christmas colors with reds and greens. And the die set gives you even more dies, so instead of having the parachute, you can definitely turn it into a hot air balloon like so. And of course, keep in mind the hot air balloon is not just for Christmas, you can use it throughout the year. Now, the dies give you also the opportunity to create gifts. Like here I'm putting together the present. There are 4 dies for that, and again you can customize your present in any color that you like. So here I'm going to create a couple of them so that you can see them in both versions. And of course, since I do have now all those elements, let's turn them into a couple of cards. Now I'm starting for my background with this Waffle folder. Absolutely love this one. I am going to run it through my die cutting machine and you can see the outcome. Now this can be customized really in so many different ways. So you can keep it clean and simple, just having the design like so, or you can just use colored cardstock but keep it simple as it is for again a clean and simple look, or you can go ahead and ink blend all over the place with brown, which is going to give the feeling of a well done waffle. So for the first card I'm going with a white version of the background, and since I do have the Candy Christmas collection, I'm going to show you a little bit so you can get an idea of what is included. This is the paper pad, the 8x8 paper pad, but you can find it in a larger size as well. But I also do have the junk journal booklet, which is going to give you not only pattern paper but also elements that you can cut out. You can fuzzy cut some of them. Or you can find tags that you can cut out, even stickers and pop-out elements that you don't have to fuzzy cut, you just push them and come out. Anyway, for this card I'm going with a background that I cut out. And I chose this paper because it gives me the sky but also has pink clouds, which I think match perfectly with the whole vibe, since I do have my gingerbread man in pinks. Now I'm going to add some foam squares at the back of my gingerbread man, and I'm going to stick my focal point on top on an angle just to give it more movement and make the card look more interesting. You can definitely stick him at the center completely straight. And now since I do have the matching collection, I'm going to pull out a couple of clouds so that I can add some dimension on my card, extra dimension. So although I do have clouds at the background, I'm going to add these two with foam squares as well. I'm going to complete my card by adding a sentiment. Again, this sentiment, I just popped it out of that booklet. And I am going to also add some dots with my contour liner, just a few dots of white here and there. I always find that it makes the card look more whimsical. Plus, since this is a winter card for Christmas, it makes it look like snow. And let's move on to the second card. Again, I'm going to use a piece of pattern paper. I'm using a die so that I can decide which part of the pattern paper I want to use. I just cut out a panel, and since I do have that look of a blended look on my elements, I'm going to recreate this look for the background pattern paper. So just a little bit of ink blending at the top is all that we need to kind of bring all the elements together. Now, since I do have all my focal points ready, all I have to do is just stick those on top of my background. Again, I'm using foam squares as the back because I like to add dimension. And I'm also going to add snow by just splattering some white paint. This is a more organic look that you can get if you feel more artistic and messy. Otherwise, you can go with the contour liner technique that I did on the first card. I also stamped the sentiment that says "Let it snow." This is from a stamp set from the same collection, and I'm going to just stick it on top. This is going to finish off my card. You can add a little bit of white contour liner if you want. This, what I'm doing here is showing you how you can have dimensional eyes, for example, with dots of the contour liner, and you can even do that for the buttons or even the frosting. So this is going to give you a more dimensional look. Now finally, for the third and last card for today, I'm going for a clean and simple look. I have cut out a few gingerbread man, and I'm not going to do any ink blending or anything. I'm just going to lay them on top of my panel. I have a white panel, as you can see, and I'm just using foam square at the back. I'm starting from the center and then I will go all around him using foam squares at the back of the other gingerbread man and just rotate them to cover up the whole card front. Make sure that some of them go outside the border. Use your scissors to cut them out, and then of course you can use the leftover piece and stick it on another empty space like I'm going to do here. And now, since I do have all those gingerbread men, I am not going to bother and cut out all the buttons and the embellishments for the eyes, the mouth, etc. All I'm doing is just using my contour liner, and I'm just going to go ahead and embellish each and every one. This is going to give me a quicker version of this man, but at the same time I end up having both the frosting and lots of dimension because this contour liner is kind of raised. Now, if you have the paper pad of Candy Christmas, you will find here the waffle pattern. There is also this exact paper if you have the junk journal booklet of the same collection. But again, if you do have the embossing folder, you can use that. Since I did show you the version with the inked embossing folder panel, I'm going to use that as my backing for this card. Now for the sentiment, you can either stamp it or you can check that junk journal booklet. You will find lots of sentiments that you can either cut out, pop out, or there are even stickers here that you can use. I'm going to use one of the stickers that says Sweet Christmas, but just because it is so flimsy and I want it to be quite sturdier, I'm going to stick it on top of a scrap piece of cardstock. Then I'm going to cut it out and stick it on top of my card. So these were all the 3 cards that I made for today using just one die set. I hope that you had fun, that you got inspired. Links to everything I used can be found down below in the description. Here are some close-up photos on all the 3 cards that I shared for today. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.